Well, we have a 53-man roster, at least the one for this week anyway. And now it's just a waiting game for the next week and a half until the NFL season begins. So tonight we are going to talk, we're going to talk some New York Jets football. That's why we're here. And we're going to talk about this roster, some of the moves that were made. I'm going to talk about things that I understood and things that I did not understand. I also want to spend a few minutes and talk about what I want to see from all three units this season. I'm going to talk about what I want to see from offense, and yes, when I say that, I'm going to say more than I want to see points scored, defense, and of course special teams as well, because there are three phases to an NFL team, as we all know. So, everybody, boys and girls, strap in. You know what's up. It's Wednesday night. It's 6 p.m. Eastern. We are live. And well, welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I'm Watsu K99, your host for this weekly Wednesday night extravaganza. Glad that you are here and taking time out of your day to hang out with me and watch the show, whether live or whether on delay. It's all good. Do me a favor, please. If you like sports, if you like America, if you just like stuff, if you like life, hit that thumbs up button. It helps spread the word. If you have a friend or, an enemy who you think might enjoy the show, share it with them. I appreciate everybody's support for show. Okay, so let's first of all, before we get into the three and out, I got a few sports topics I want to talk about. We got some stuff to get into tonight, all right? I'm just going to lay it all out there because I got a few things on my mind. We got the great Harlan Abraham here, Father Abraham and his many sons, the many sons of Father Abraham. I am one of them, and so are you. Yes, I'm going to recite that chorus every week because, hey, it reminds me of my summer camp days. What can I say? I'm just messing with you. Can hear you loud and clear, so I started miming. Indy Jets, oh man, what's up? Indy Jets, one of the best Jet fans out there. Had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of years ago, back in the Joe Flacco days. During the 2022 season, got to hang with him. Very, very good dude. Hope you are doing fantastic. Can I hit the like? Even if I'm an old angry man, get off my grass. In that case, you got to hit it twice, dude. But I'm very, very. I've seen you a couple of the other chats recently, so I'm very glad that you're hanging with me as well, guys. We're going to talk about the Jets in just a moment, but I got a few things to get that I got to talk about right now. So let's talk about what's on my mind in a little bit of what we like to call three and out. I want to spend just a quick minute on the Ryder Cup, Captain Keegan Bradley, and if you're wondering what does this have to do with New York, the event's going to be in Farmingdale, New York, on Long Island. In 1 month, okay? I'm not the biggest golf fan anymore, but U.S. versus Europe, this is the golf event I still get into. In fact, I'm even taking Friday off from work to watch it. All right, there's just something about when the U.S. is doing it, an individual sport that becomes a team sport. It's just different. The dynamic is different, and it's just fun as can be. So I'm definitely going to be watching it, and I felt good. There was a big controversy. Will Keegan Bradley, the U.S. captain, pick himself to be a player/captain? Last U.S. person to do that was Arnold Palmer back in the 60s. But Keegan Bradley decided to not play, which I think is the wise choice. I don't want him to have a huge putt on 18 to win a point for the American team. But meanwhile, he's got to prepare, the pairings for Saturday afternoon for four ball or anything like that. So I'm glad that he is not going to be playing. And hopefully the U.S. Will knock off the Euros and take the Ryder Cup back to the west side of the Atlantic. USA! All right, enough of that. Let's talk about baseball for a moment. I got to mention the Yankees. They sweep that just wonderful Washington Nationals team 4 straight games. They were never even really all that close. And to me, I'm going to come back to this. The Yankees are a bully team. It's simple. They're like what the Miami Dolphins were a couple of years ago when Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were peaking at the same time and Tua was leading the NFL in passing yards. They beat the crap out of the bad teams, but when they see a good team, they see Houston, they see Boston, any team like that, Toronto, all of a sudden they're not the same team anymore. So if you're a Yankee fan, you want to get excited about sweeping Washington, great. But you know what? You're going to win games because you do have that talent. But when the money's on the line, are you going to get the job done? That question remains to be answered. I do have to give Mike Stanton, Giancarlo Stanton, a lot of credit. When he plays, he is still a premier power hitter. And as a Mets fan, I know because I saw him beat down my team many, 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 many times. So I am glad he went to the Yankees those years ago because I didn't want him in my division for sure. But durability is always going to be an issue with him. But you know what? It's good for the Yankees that he is healthy right now. Enjoy it while you have it because his health is always very fleeting. As far as the Mets go, man, 2 wins in a row against Philadelphia. Hey, Philly comes into Citi Field. We be their daddies. We are. Going into Tuesday, the Mets had scored 71 runs in 10 games. That was the most in baseball. Second closest, the Yankees, was 64. So it's funny, just a month ago, Met fans were talking about firing the hitting coach, doing all these kinds of things, right? All of a sudden, that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. You don't hear anybody talking about the coaches, the coaching staff, when things are actually going right. Have you ever noticed that? Hey, if the Jets have a great offensive season, we can only pray. How much praise is Tanner Eckstrand going to get? He'll get a little bit, but there's a good chance if the Jet fan is talking about Tanner Eckstrand, it's 90% because he's struggling. Because when things are going right, the players get the credit. Most of the time, players get the credit. When things are going wrong, players get some blame, but the managers and the coaching get the bulk of the blame. And it's the same in just about every sport. But Mark Vientos has emerged finally as that power threat the Mets have needed. Brett Beatty's been really good for the last month. He is showing signs that he may be this team's future third baseman. He just might be. Monday night, the bottom of the lineup's hitting. Luis Torrens, Tyrone Taylor getting big hits. Tuesday night, the walk-off of Johan Duran, who the Phillies gave up a truckload to acquire from the Twins as their closer. 4 batters, the guy can't get 1 out. Not 1 out. And the Mets get 4 hits and walk off Philly. They close the series tonight, and the pitching matchup, it favors the Mets. What can I say? Nolan McLean, making, I believe, his 3rd career start. Absolute phenom against the ex-Met, Taijuan Walker. And remember, Zach Wheeler out for the year with thoracic outlet syndrome. Wish him the best, but that is going to really hurt the Phillies. And while we're talking about young pitching phenoms, here comes Jonah Tong. Let me see that tongue! If you know, you know. So this pitcher, he's pitching Friday night against the Marlins, has been compared to Tim Lincecum with his arm motion, with his arsenal. I'm not going to go into all the stats. I will just say this. He is a big reason the Mets currently have the top-ranked farm system in all of baseball. And I am pumped up to watch him pitch for the first time. So that is what's going on. And hey, it's all of a sudden a little bit of excitement coming back into baseball. But again, the Yankees got to one thing with each team. Yankees got to beat the good teams. Mets got to get some light from their starting rotation. Because I can't keep watching Kodai Senga and Shaw Manaea pitch 3 to 4 innings, and then they're out of the game, and in comes the bullpen. That's just not going to sustain all that long. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's blow it up. And ladies and gentlemen, I think it is about that time. You know what? I could have spent another 10 minutes on baseball, but you know what? I know the reason why most of you are here. I know why you're here. You're here to talk a little New York Jets football to everybody. You know what to do. You've been here before. I've been here before. I know what to do. I know what to play. So let's say it proud, say it loud, let it go. Doesn't it make you feel good inside to say that, especially when they haven't lost a game this year? Oh, my gosh. Tony Alexio wants to bring back the Martinez package. Well, the Martinez package is heading to San Francisco. Oh, there's a joke to be made, but I won't go there. Oh, gosh. G. Keep it a G for now. Unfortunately, there's only water in this bottle, so it's probably not going to get past PG tonight. All right. Indy Jets is ready for some trivia. All right. Well, hey, you came to the right place. You're going to get some trivia a little bit later on. I actually want to thank Nick Shine. I got to go on with him for the last preseason game. And we basically did the first half together, Jets versus Eagles, and I dropped a little bit of trivia over there, and it was a very good time. Arian Smith will be the wide receiver number 2 very soon. I think you might just be right about that, as a bug is trying to invade our space. All right, see how that goes. Harlan Abraham, the Red Sox fan, they could sweep Baltimore tonight. Man, what a disappointment the Orioles are. Man, for having that great farm system, and I saw a lot of it, being that I lived in Norfolk for so long, saw a lot of great players come through, but it has just not come together. And I think one of the main reasons is the pitching has never quite worked out over there. So hey, all good. Any Cubs news? No. Cubs, Pacers, Jets are my teams. I'm that screwed up, dude. Oof. Yeah. There's no NBA team that I despise as much as the Pacers, for very obvious reasons. For all those years, I didn't really have one NBA team that I hated. Like, I have clear teams I hate in football, baseball, and hockey. Basketball, it was just who's giving the Knicks the most crap, really. Now it's clearly the Pacers, and it's not even close. The Bulls, the Nets, the Heat, all these teams, not the Sixers, not even the Celtics. They're all they're laps behind Indiana as far as that's concerned. All right, guys. So let's talk about a little bit of Jets news. Let's talk about what's going on. I do want to spend a minute on Kyle Duggar, because there were some rumors going around. You know what? Indy? I guess you could say that the Knicks are my Achilles heel. What? What? Oh, too soon? I said Achilles? Oh, okay. No. All the best in his recovery, and hopefully he comes back at his best and does not play there ever again. All right, so Kyle Duggar's 29 years old. Kyle Duggar, 29 years old. There have been rumors that New England was looking to trade him, that they had too much depth in the safety room, that he wasn't a scheme fit in this defense. All right. I'm going to get this bug tonight, guys. I swear to you, I'm going to get this bug. Here's the thing. If the Patriots were to cut him, they're on the hook for $23.5 million in dead money. They're not cutting him, first of all. He's already made the 53-man roster. But he is the second highest paid player on the Patriots roster. He has 3 years left on a 4-year, $58 million deal. His cap hit this year is $15 million. Now, the Jets have the cap space to absorb it. He's coming off ankle surgery. But, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense. Even though there are clear questions at the safety position with the Jets, I think it's a thing where you know who your four are and you're just going to roll with it. And I just don't think this is a move that you make when you have the second youngest team in the NFL and you're trying to figure out who is a legitimate player for you and who isn't. This is a move you make in 1 to 2 years, not now. Because if you make this move, you're demoting Malachi Moore, who has been, I think, a very, very encouraging player over the course of the preseason. Probably the best player the Jets put on the field against Philadelphia last Friday. So figure out what you have. Give these players a chance to prove if they belong or not. So Kyle Duggar, no. As far as the prospects of Kyle Duggar goes, I'm just gonna make this a little bit more obvious, just in case anybody has any questions about how I feel. When it comes to Kyle Duggar, this is pretty much how we feel. We're not interested. It took me a second to find the right sound bit there, but I found it. I did also want to make one. I'm going to take this off because I want to point out one other thing. Speaking of safeties, what Tony Adams said, he was being interviewed. And it's a very simple quote, but I think it speaks volumes. And why I keep coming back to coaching, and probably the main reason I do have some optimism, very, very guarded optimism, but some optimism about this team. This was his quote. The last coaching staff preached discipline, and we didn't listen to them. If you're a coach, if you're a manager, if you're a boss, you're a parent, and you basically emphasize the virtue of discipline, but then you don't hold the standards, if your actions don't meet your words, you're just going to get walked on. And that is exactly what happened with that last coaching staff. And I hate to keep harping on them, but to me, if I'm looking for optimism, it's all about the coaches. That they are going to get this team to play solid fundamental football, that they will find ways to win the one-score games that they constantly lost last year. So I just thought that quote from Tony Adams about discipline spoke volumes about where they were and where they could be going. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the roster. I'm going to pull this back up. So recapping the 53-man roster, and I want to talk about basically almost in chronological order, basically what has happened, and just give you kind of like my breakdown of how things have gone. We're going to minimize that a little bit. All right, so the Jets traded Derek Nottie and a 2027 7th-round pick for a 6th-round pick in 2027. The deal was pending a physical. Realistically, this may only be a few spots. You figure Kansas City will be picking kind of later in that draft. The Jets, who knows where. But the fact that Darren Muji got something for Derek Nottie, who was never going to make this team and was completely invisible during the entire preseason, as far as I'm concerned, I give him some credit. Now, Rashad Weaver, this I didn't expect. He was released with an injury settlement. Now, I didn't know he had a hamstring injury. I really had him making this roster. I thought a good veteran pass rusher, something I felt the Jets were really, really lacking, and I can't get him. And I really felt that Weaver was worth keeping. But unfortunately, he was hurt, and he was let go, so now he is... I guess he's free to pursue greener pastures, but it's harder to find pastures that are greener than the New York Jets, aren't they? I don't know. All right. In the Jets, my hot take I've had for a month, Michael Clemens will get 8+ sacks. You know what? He can get a few sacks. For all the crap that we give him, you got to give him credit. He can get a few sacks at times. Oh, looks like we have we have some okay. All right, we have some breaking news, but I'm going to break that down over the course of the show when the timing is right for it. Not going to say it just yet, but it involves Tyler Johnson, and he is not gone after all. So I'll just leave it at that. Jamin Davis, that one surprised me when he was cut. I had him slated as a starting linebacker. Now, the thing with Davis, why was he let go? Well, it wasn't because of his performance, but he has no waivers concerns. So he has accrued 4 seasons. Because of that, he does not have to be exposed to waivers, okay? So if the Jets want to bring him back, they don't have to wait for him to clear waivers. They could just sign him, and it is possible they're working out a handshake deal, and they could bring him back after week 1. This is exactly what they did with Thomas Morstead just 2 years ago. But in the opener against Green Bay, remember, it was Davis playing alongside Quincy Williams and Jamian Sherwood, and he played well. So the fact that they let him go, it just didn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense to me. But I do have this feeling Jamin Davis has not signed anywhere yet. I have a feeling he will be coming back in the next week or so. And then Adrian Martinez got cut. I know there were some Jet fans pretty disappointed about that. But to me, it's not too surprising. And now he is on his way to San Francisco, where as we said, the Martinez package will have a chance to grow. But Brady, I got to give Brady Cook credit. I was very worried about his accuracy, and my issue with Cook is he has this slow windup. I was watching it; it was just, I remember watching Dan Marino when I was a kid. He would just, it was like that. He would just get the ball out of there in like 1 second. Cook has like this windup. I got to see him speed his mechanics up a little bit if he is going to become a credible backup quarterback, let alone a starter. But I give him credit. He showed improved accuracy over the course of the summer. He ran the 2-minute drill, I thought, quite well, ran it with confidence. But you know what? We got the news that Tyrod Taylor would be ready for week 1, and I have never believed for a moment the Jets were carrying 3 quarterbacks on this roster. Every projection that I did, if you were here with me, I had Fields and I had Taylor making the roster as the 2 quarterbacks on this team. Never changed it, and I'm still staying with it. Aaron Glenn will be coach of the year, Tony Alexio says, if Clemens gets 8 sacks. That'd be a pretty good sign. That would be a pretty good sign. So we went into Tuesday, and we had 22 cuts to make. Now, I'm not going to go through each and every one. You probably know who they are, but I want to mention a couple that stood out to me. Carter Warren. I'm sorry, but you cannot tell me that Max Mitchell is a better offensive lineman than Carter Warren. I don't even think you could tell me that Chukwuma Okorafor is a better offensive lineman than Carter Warren. So my suspicion at the time was they must have another offensive tackle in mind, because I had said for weeks now, there were several positions where the Jets had a star and no depth. primarily wide receiver, defensive tackle, and linebacker. And the more that I thought about it, I was thinking, you know what? Offensive tackle is the exact same situation. We've got two young starters that we are hitching our wagon to, and I've got confidence for them, but we don't know what they're going to be in year one and let's be real, year 1 and year 1.5. Because Olu has only played left tackle in the NFL for about half a season. He didn't play early on, and then when he did play for the next couple weeks, they put him in at guard. Just ridiculous. Okay. So basically you have year 1, year 1.5. You have 8 games roughly of starting experience with those offensive tackles. One of them goes down. Yikes. So I figured they had to have a plan in mind. More on that later. Eric Watts, that wasn't a big surprise to me. More of a run defender, more of a special teams player. You can get guys like that. Jarrett Bernard Converse. Now, one particular Jets account on Twitter lost his mother freaking mind. Okay. And to me, I just felt it was either him or it was Quantez Stiggers. And I just gave the edge to Stiggers. I liked what I saw from him on special teams. I liked his coverage ability, gave up a play here and there, but JBC's had some injury issues. He even got hurt against Philadelphia. I didn't see anybody make a big deal out of it, and maybe it wasn't overly serious, but I did see him go down in the first half against Philly. So if I had to make that choice between Stiggers and JBC, I would have gone Stiggers. And JBC is actually on his way to Cleveland. I think he's on his way to Cleveland, right? Yeah, the Browns are signing the Jets leftovers. More on that in a moment. Brandon Smith. Okay, so that one is a little bit mysterious. Now, okay, so we do have news. I was looking for the news on this. Brandon Smith was indeed added to the practice squad. All right, so that is a very late addition, and I wasn't surprised he wasn't added to the 53. We have to remember this. Even though we haven't known him all that long, he's already 26 years old. He's not young in terms of football years. The Jets wagered that they could sneak him through waivers and put him back on the practice squad. And as it turns out, that's exactly what happened. So until proven otherwise, God bless him. He's a great preseason wide receiver, and he's got to prove that he can be more than that. We don't know that right now. Malachi Corley, not that this was a surprise, but I just got to spend a minute on him. And I feel as guilty as anybody because I was so excited when the Jets drafted him. I can't say I was on the no matter what crew, but I wasn't far off from the no matter what crew. 2 seasons. Let's just summarize Malachi Corley's just illustrious Jets career, that future Ring of Honor inductee that he's going to be. He basically was here for 1 season and some change. He had 3 jersey numbers and 3 catches. For every catch, he changed his freaking jersey number, or he wore a different jersey. I mean, it's just insane. 3 jersey numbers, 3 catches on 6 targets, 16 yards, 1 first down, and 1 lost fumble. And we all know that play. So he doesn't get claimed on waivers, but the Cleveland Browns, that's another organization in the NFL that knows exactly what it's doing. He had a few options. He went to Cleveland, and you know what? It sounds about right. What does Cleveland have at wide receiver once you get past Jerry Jeudy? Name one other wide receiver that is being drafted from Cleveland in fantasy this year. Anybody besides Jerry Jeudy? Here's who you got. Cedric Tillman, Jamari Thrash, DeAndre Carter. They just signed Isaiah Bond, who has a little questionable criminal history. Okay, and Corley's going to be on the practice squad to start off. I don't think he's going to be there all that long, but we will see. But it was an opportunity for him to get some playing time, but he had to go on the practice squad in order to do it. And hey, I feel we get stuff right, guys. We get stuff wrong. I got that about as wrong as you could get it. And I have no problem admitting it. I got no problem holding myself accountable. I was dead wrong about Malachi Corley. I wasn't wrong about the talent necessarily, but I was wrong about the person. I thought, you know what, this kid's coming from a small school. He'll have a lot to prove, and he'll want to show out. Might take a year of development, but little did we know what a crap attitude he had. And I guess he fooled a lot of people. There you go. And then Quinn Skinner gets let go, and basically Jets Twitter crashed out. 7:55, the roster comes down, and I got to tell you, I promised myself, I really promised myself, I wouldn't get too crazy about the initial 53-man roster because I knew there'd be a little bit of juggling going on, right? What the hell was Darren Muji doing with some of these picks? I don't get it. Xavier Gibson on, but no Jamal Pritchett. If this is the punt returner spot, let me lay some stats on you, okay? Gibson has 5 punt returns in his career of 20 yards or more. He has 9 fumbles. 9. And then I got to hear Aaron Glenn in the press conference yesterday talking about how sure-handed he's been during training camp. You know what? If Xavier Gibson has learned how to catch a ball, if he's become sure-handed over the summer, God bless him. But he's got to prove that in games. And I got news for you. Florham Park ain't East Rutherford. The Atlantic Jets Health Training Facility ain't MetLife Stadium. So I was not happy about that at all. Pritchett was slippery. You know, he made people miss tackles, things like that. And here's the other thing. I was going to get into this in a moment. I'm just going to get into this right now. You know that Jamal Pritchett was the only Jet to return a punt during the preseason? Xavier Gibson, he had as many punt returns as you, me, the entire chat combined. 0. So I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. I was also stunned that Marquise Hayes made the roster. This was an offensive lineman who I was like, he ain't going to make it. You know, I saw him in Green Bay. I wasn't impressed by what I saw. I'm like, okay, that'll be an early cut. When I saw he was on the initial 53, my mouth dropped. I'm like, why? And I asked Rich Cimini this. I asked him on his podcast. He answered the question, why do we need a 6th interior offensive lineman on this roster? Maybe our best position is interior offensive line. Joe Tippmann, Elijah Vera Tucker, John Simpson, Josh Myers, Xavier Newman. Good. I'm good there. Why do we need a 6th interior offensive lineman? We got 6 IOLs and 6 wide receivers. Make it make sense. I mean, there were a few things I did like. Kene Nwangwu, you know I've been championing him for forever now. Leonard Taylor III, loved him too. Both of them made the roster. I was very, very happy to see that. So when Kene made it, you knew Donovan Edwards was not going to make it. And he goes to Washington. He's going to their practice squad. Hey, it would have been nice to have kept him. All the best to him. But there just wasn't room. He was looking for more of an opportunity. And you know what? Now that Washington's traded Brian Robinson, you know, they basically have Austin Eckler and they have, was it Koski? That guy, Koski, the 7th round pick. So I guess some of the folks are really high on him. Maybe that'll give him a chance to make a little bit of an impact. You never know. All right. Let's catch up on the comments here real quick. Yeah, Jets try to trade Warren, no takers. Yep. So, right, he goes to Atlanta. So Carter Warren is on his way to the Falcons. And they just lost Caleb McGarry, their right tackle, who they just gave a nice new contract to. So they had a opening at offensive tackle, and they're going to try to fill it with Carter Warren. Tony, Converse is good, but he's always injured. Yeah, there's a number of players. There were a number of players like that the Jets drafted who had some ability, but they were getting hurt. Converse is one. Zaire Barnes is another one. If you want to go back, I could take you back to Cam Clark, who I will argue forever would have been a good guard for the Jets had he not had that neck injury. And some of those draft picks were just snake bit. I mean, it's not like they were lacking talent or lacking ability. Just sometimes bad things happen, you know? And it's sad, but that's the risk of sports. Tony, Skinner and Brandon Smith are upgrades over Butterfinger, Lazard, and Gibson. I don't know. I'm not going to argue with it. Corley is less than Elijah Moore. Y'all remember him, right? Oh, yeah, we do. We remember Elijah Moore. Ain't working out for him either. Cut Gibson, less heartburn. You know, I saw no reason to keep him. That guy is here because of one punt return. I'm sorry. What can he do that these other receivers can't? I never would have believed that the Jets would let every undrafted free agent wide receiver they have, all three. I'm just talking about the 3 main ones. I'm not talking about Diamir Miller or Pokey Wilson or, you know, any of those guys. But Pritchett, Skinner, Smith. If you had told me that none of them would be on the 53-man roster, I'd have been very surprised. But that's what happened. That's what happened. So, okay. So then came the practice squad news. So they started making announcements around noon on Wednesday. and started tracking that. Now, here's the guys I wanted to see make the practice squad. Because with the practice squad, you're usually going to bring in a couple of players from outside of the organization, right? So Brady Cook, want to see him make the practice squad? He did. Donovan Edwards, I knew he was probably going to get some interest. Thought it was a long shot. Indeed, he goes to Washington. Jamal Pritchett, they kept him. Quinn Skinner, they kept him. Brandon Smith, I didn't know if he was going to stay or not because he was not seen in practice today. I saw a tweet, I think it was from Zach Rosenblatt, that he was pointing out guys who were in practice today, and he said neither Donovan Edwards nor Brandon Smith have been spotted. So I was thinking, Smith is probably gone. It wasn't anything I was going to get angry about, but it was going to be disappointing. But Rich Cimini, he made this 15, 20 minutes ago, forwarding the practice squad. And indeed, Brandon Smith is on the list. So, yeah. So he actually made the announcement after I started the show. So then after that, Leander Wiegand, the international offensive lineman, they kept him. Peyton Page, the defensive tackle from Clemson, kept him. Jarek Bernard-Converse went to Cleveland. So, again, the Browns they like our leftovers. What can I tell you? And Dean Clark, they were able to keep him. He was actually the first signing. He definitely showed some good signs in those last two preseason games. So, hey, glad they were able to keep him. And, yep. Okay, so I think that's the whole – I had a whole slide for the practice squad, but now it's pretty much irrelevant since they've made a number of updates to it. Okay, so I'm going to make the screen up. Let's make this a little bit smaller, actually. And so then after the waiver process, that happened at 12. The Jets were picking 7th, and they made 3 claims. I want to talk about these new additions to the 53-man roster, not to the practice squad. This is to the 53-man. All right. So actually, I'm going to say one or two things here. Harlan, Becton was a good lineman, then the injury hit. Absolutely correct. I can't call Mekhi Becton a bust. It didn't work out with the Jets, but he went on and became a very useful lineman once he got some actual coaching. Again, for the most part, I think the Jets did a very good idea at identifying talent, the scouting and the front office. I think in a lot of cases, they were coached poorly. Corley. Moore had some NFL talent, Corley none. Corley has speed and agility. That's what he has. And he can catch the ball well. But he had a limited route tree, and the biggest issue is right here. We talked about this. When you are basically saying to Devontae Adams, no, I don't want $20,000 to give up number 17 to you, even though you actually have a track record in the league as opposed to me who hasn't done jack shit. I want $117,000. So I say, I ain't no running back. I ain't playing special teams. I'm a starting wide receiver. What he is a player who's been cut and has now been relegated to the Cleveland Browns practice squad. Not the Philadelphia Eagles practice squad. No, not the Baltimore Ravens practice squad. The Cleveland Browns practice squad. That's low. And you know what? Maybe this humbles the kid a little bit. But I am going to say, I will stand by the fact that Corley had some talent. I'm not saying he was going to be Wes Welker or one of the great slot receivers of all time, but he did have talent. And he's wasting it away. So let's talk about some people that are coming to the Jets. So they bring in Esa Pohl. Now, I got to be honest. I didn't really know who this was. Turns out he's one of the players the Jets visited with, I believe, during the Combine. I know Dom C likes him a lot. Dom, if you like, check out Dom C's channel. If you haven't, the Project Prospect channel. I'm sure he'll appreciate the plug. Even though he and I have gone back and forth a little bit over the last day or two over Joe Douglas and his legacy, I still love the guy. So Esa Pohl is an undrafted free agent rookie from Washington State University. Now, he was with the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, that's an organization that knows how to find talent. They know what they're doing. Now, he appeared in either 46 or 49 pass blocking situations for the Chiefs. It depends on what resource you're using that particular day. On those snaps, between 46 49, he allowed 0 pressures, which ties Bills offensive tackle Jacob Bayer for the second most pass blocking snaps without a pressure this year. He was also very good in the run game. He generated some movement off the line of scrimmage. And hey, Jet fans, you're going to like this. 68 total snaps. No penalties. Can you believe it? An offensive lineman that doesn't take penalties? What are we talking about? What's happening here? And the tweet came from a reporter at the Kansas City Star newspaper. And I'm actually gonna quote the tweet. This should go over well in Kansas City. I'm told Essa Paul was notified after the waiver deadline that he had indeed been claimed, at least by the Jets. He's as surprised as I and now you are. The deadline passed. He was notified afterwards. So he thought he was staying, but it turns out the Jets put in a claim on him, and now he's heading to Florham Park. Thank God. All right. I don't know how much coaching he needs, but I can tell he's got some raw ability. I can tell you he's better than Max Mitchell is. I can tell you he's better than Carter Warren was, and I can tell you he's better than Chuck Okorafor. So if he's the swing tackle now, or even just a developmental, even if he's inactive on game days, fine. But you have a nice raw project here that you can develop, that you can build, who's already proving he's got some ability. Harlan Abraham, when JD left the Jets, they had a lot more talent than when he first got here. I could not disagree more. Harlan, I love you, but in my opinion, this is 100% not true. All right. You know what? I'm going to pull up the 2018 Jets right now. Tell me how many okay, let's just go through this. Let's see if I can go through the starting lineup real quick. And I'm not counting Sam, and you can't really consider Sam Darnold considering the way he was coached and the fact that they gave him nothing. So if you're going by Darnold versus Fields, well, all right. So these were their starters in 2018. Sam Darnold, Bilal Powell, Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa, whose neck was about to fall off, Chris Herndon, Eric Tomlinson, offensive line, Kelvin Beachum, James Carpenter, Spencer Long, Brian Winters, Brandon Shell. Is there any offensive lineman in that group that you would take over what we have now? Defensive starters, Leonard Williams, Steve McClendon, Mike Pennell. They're doing a 3-4. I mean, come on. Leonard Williams, yes, he's fine. You know what? Jets have Quinnen Williams. But, of course, that's on Mike McCagnon because he drafted that particular player. Linebacker, Brandon Copeland, Darren Lee, Avery Williamson, Jordan Jenkins. The secondary, Trumaine Johnson. Yes, the Pro Bowler himself, the great Trumaine Johnson. Maurice Claiborne, who had his moments, he was okay. And then you had Jamal Adams and Marcus May, because that's what Mike McCagnon invested in, was the safety position. It's sad. I used to defend Mike McCagnon to an extent. By the last year or two, I mean, it was over. Yeah, who else they have? Foley Fatukasi. Jason Myers was the kicker. Okay, great. But no, not this roster. No. Joe Douglas left them in much better shape than how he left them. Joe Douglas can be criticized. I know I'm a Joe Douglas truther. Okay. I know that. I can be fair with criticizing him. But I got an issue with people basically saying, not that Harlan said it, but people saying that he was horrible, that he was incompetent. That's bullshit. It's just bullshit. I've seen other general managers who literally had no idea what to do. Idzik had no idea what he was doing. McCagnon had no idea what he was doing. Even guys like Bill Parcells and Mike Tannenbaum, look at some of the decisions they made. Drafting guys like Dorian Boose. Drafting guys like Calvin Pryor. All right? There is no general manager who doesn't have warts. John Lynch in San Francisco, he traded up to get Trey Lance. Now, yes, he got a little bit of redemption with Brock Purdy. Got a little bit fortunate. But no. You compare 2018 to 2024 going into 2025, I'll take this roster any day of the week. Any day of the week. And twice on Sunday. So, Harlan, love you, but I can't go for that. I just can't. All right, let's keep going. Jelani Woods. Oh, did this one make me happy? You know, Jelani Woods was very highly regarded by a lot of content creators, myself included, going into the draft. I think Greenbean was big on him. There were a number of people talking about Well, I know Greenbean would have been. He's a tight end. So what else would you expect? What can I say? He's not a fullback, so he's good with him, right? But no, seriously, Jelani Woods gives you a big combination of blocking and receiving ability. I think a lot of us were hoping to grab him in the 5th round. Didn't work out that well. The Colts liked him so much. They took him in the 3rd round. And what did they like about him? Well, he runs a 4.6 40, pretty good for a tight end. 6'7" tall, 34.5-inch arms, great at contested catches. Had a good rookie season, 25 catches, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. And he's really at his best with intermediate targets in that 10 to 20-yard window. That's where you want to throw him the ball. That's where he can make a difference. Okay, Harlan, I'm sorry. I misread you. Okay, I got it, man. I got it. Okay. I don't know if Tony was confused and I was confused, but okay, I'm with it. So that's on me. Sorry about that. Jets mess. Yes. How you doing, man? How you doing? OG channel member, Jets mess. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. That's right. The wicker chair is safe as always. That's right. It's got Secret Service guards around it 24/7 to make sure nobody tries to get in here and do anything with it. So with Jelani Woods, he's missed the last 2 seasons with hamstring injuries and turf toe. He's not the best blocker in the world, but I can tell you this. He's a lot better at it than Stone Smart and Jeremy Ruckert are. He's better at it than Ty Conklin was. But here's the thing. If he replaces Jeremy Ruckert, it doesn't look like that's the case. But if he doesn't take his roster spot but gets his playing time, I can tell you, it's an upgrade just the blocking alone. But I think the Jets made the right move. They did not get rid of a tight end. They're going with 4 tight ends right now, and I think it's the right move because you can't count on Jelani Woods staying healthy right now. That's the concern you have, okay? I actually thought for a minute maybe he would replace Andrew Beck. I thought they might do that. Thankfully, that was not the case. And when I found out his blocking is he's a very average blocker is what he is. All right, he's not like a true fullback. He's not Beck, but he's definitely better than what we have on the roster right now. And remember another thing, Justin Fields, he likes to throw the ball to his tight ends. And now maybe for the first time, maybe the 12 formation is an option or the 22 formation is an option where you get 2 tight ends on the field. Maybe. Here's the thing, Tony, another injury waiting to happen. You know what? I get it, but you know what? The upside is much higher than what they have with Jeremy Ruckert. And I believe it's higher than you might have with Stone Smart in terms of all-around ability. And if he does get hurt, well, you know what? Then we know what we have. We still have Mason Taylor. Stone Smart can receive. And sadly, Jeremy Ruckert's still there. But I do think, really, if you use Woods and Taylor together, especially with the lack of depth at wide receiver, that's something that you could look at. That's an interesting idea. I think Tanner Engstrand got another new shiny toy to work with here. So am I expecting him to – I'm not expecting him to come in and be this dominant force, but I think the Jets' offense is better now than it was just, 6-7 hours ago. There was one more player the Jets brought in, and it was Cam Jones. Now, he was with the Chiefs for the last 2 years. This is really a special teams player, that special teams linebacker type guy. So in the last 2 years, I'm gonna acknowledge Michael Nania for these numbers. Last 2 years, played 562 special team snaps, played all 34 games. He had 13 special teams tackles, only 3 missed tackles. And his PFF grade on special teams in 2024 was an even 90.0. That was the 6th best out of 220 players. He's good. Now, you're not asking him to come in here and play defense, okay? His missed tackle percentage on defense is around 12%. He allowed completions on 11 of 12 passing targets. I was thinking this is a Zaire Barnes or a Marcelino McCreary ball replacement, and it looks like that is exactly what the deal is. So he comes over from Kansas City as well. So the Jets bringing in some ex-Chiefs. So there you go. Grandizer 12. Baba Booey to you, Adam, and all your viewers. Yep, wonderful. Wonderful. Grandizer, I appreciate you being here, my man. Yeah, you guys got any questions? You got any thoughts on what we got going on here? Let me know. So I was thinking 3 players were going to have to go, and the 3 that I was thinking were Andrew Beck, Marquise Hayes, and Zaire Barnes. And as it turns out, I got 2 out of the 3. Beck stays. They let go of Marquise Hayes, which I figured they were probably going to do, and they do let go of Zaire Barnes. And the other release that I think surprised a lot of us was Tyler Johnson, the wide receiver. Now, I've heard some people say that his skill set is a little bit redundant. Well, we actually have some more information that has come down in the last hour about that and how things have changed. So I had a practice squad tracker here that we know. Now, this was as of about an hour ago. It has now changed. So I'm going to read, despite what we have here on the slide, I'm just going to read the slide in alphabetical order. So the Jets practice squad is Dean Clark, Jordan Clark, so the two defensive backs, Brady Cook at quarterback. Tyler Johnson has been added to the practice squad. Now, here's the thing with that. The Jets signed him to a one-year, $1.4 million contract. He's a vested veteran, which means he can return to the roster after week 1, and the Jets don't have to guarantee his base salary. Now, his base salary is $200,000. So are the Jets being a little bit cheap, trying to save the $200K, or they try to keep another player on the roster, and they feel like Johnson's not going to get claimed? So, yeah, I don't think Johnson's getting claimed realistically at all. So, to me, I don't. I'm not too worried about that. But I was a little surprised to see that he would be cut and be added to the practice squad. But I think this is a situation that Johnson is going to get promoted for certain weeks, for certain situations that the Jets need some help at wide receiver. And if he performs well enough, well, there you go. You can just promote him to the active roster and let go of whoever you need to let go of. Xavier Gibson. Pardon me. All right. So a quick question from I'm going to Grandizer. I'll answer that in a moment. I'm just going to go through the rest of the list. Cole Laval, the offensive guard, he was kept. Harrison Mevis, the thicker kicker, stays around. Peyton Page, as I mentioned, I'm very happy that he stayed. Jamal Pritchett, I think every Jets fan was begging for him to stay. He does. Jackson Sermon, the linebacker. Quentin Skinner, also wanted to keep him around for sure. So the fact that Skinner and Pritchett stayed, was very happy to see that. Also, Boog Smith, the linebacker. Brandon Smith, we talked about him. Eric Watts stays, and Leander Wiegand. All right, so that is the practice squad. So I got these names plus Brandon Smith, Tyler Johnson. I think I have Jackson up there. Boog Smith, got him up there. Boog Smith, Eric Watts, Leander Wiegand, Brandon Smith. Yeah, so add Brandon Smith and Tyler Johnson to the list that we have there. All right, so I think so I believe that is the full. Yeah, I believe that is the full practice squad. So there we go. So not too bad, and the Jets didn't really bring. And the interesting thing is all these players were in camp with the Jets. They didn't bring anybody from outside the organization. Interesting. All right, so I'm going to get to this in a moment. So Grandizer wants to ask, biggest Jets shockers that the Jets kept or cut. The fact that they cut Jamal Pritchett when he was the only punt returner during the preseason was surprising, but I'm glad they kept him. That was and Jamin Davis, those two. I believe Jamin Davis should be a starting linebacker for this team, and he has not been claimed yet by anybody, and I hope the Jets do bring him back. Of other teams cut, did you have a wish list of players you wish the Jets signed? I mean, I was thinking maybe like a Kyle McCord, maybe at quarterback if Brady Cook got claimed. That would have been fine. But again, a lot of these guys, they get let go for a reason in many cases. I didn't know who Jelani Woods. I wanted Jelani Woods here. I felt the Jets needed some real help at tight end, and they got him. So when the Jets, when I found out that he was going to be coming to the Jets, I was a very, very happy little Watsu K99. So Harlan Abraham, keeping a place kicker on the practice squad is good. Yeah, you know what? You never know. Nick Folk is kind of up there. He's in his 40s now. It's good to have somebody there, and hey. You could always develop a kicker. You never know what they're going to turn into. And if he's working with Nick Folk, well, that's a pretty good kicker to be learning from. Because remember, Folk hasn't always been Justin Tucker. His game once slipped to the point where he was out of the NFL for a period of time, and he had to work his way back in. So he knows about overcoming adversity. How large is the practice squad? I want to say it's 16 players? I'm pretty sure it's 16. Let me double check that. Right now it's 14. But I think the most you could have is 16. Jets might be keeping a spot open. So, Dean Clark, Jordan Clark, Brady Cook, Tyler Johnson, Cole Laval, Harrison Mevis, Peyton Page, Jamal Pritchett, that's 8, Jackson Sermon, Quentin Skinner, Boog Smith, Brandon Smith, Eric Watts, Leander Wiegand. That's your 14. So it's a 14-player practice squad as of right now. Did the Jets keep any of their UDFA players that they signed? No. They didn't keep any of them. Now, several are on the practice squad in Skinner, Pritchett, Page, Cook, Mevis, Jordan Clark, D. Clark, Jackson Sermon, Leander Wiegand. Yeah, it's pretty much made up of UDFAs, but there is not one UDFA that the Jets kept. Yeah, I don't believe. Yeah. So none of them made the 53, but a lot of them are staying in the organization. All they really lost was Malachi Corley, Jarek Bernard-Converse, and Carter Warren. In addition to the players that they cut, Zaire Barnes, and Marquise Hayes. So really nothing there that's going to completely break your heart, really. This wasn't like a couple of years ago when the Jets got raided. Remember, I can't remember all the names, but I remember Trevon Wesco got claimed by Chicago. That was one of them. That was when Jason Pinnock got claimed by the Giants. That was a kind of a rough one to absorb, and he's gone on to become, a good safety, pretty good safety. I wouldn't call him a Pro Bowler, but he's pretty good. Yeah, unfortunately, the Jets didn't keep Pinnock, and I would definitely call that a mistake in work life. What's for dinner? How was your day at work? I haven't had dinner yet. I got home about 5:15. Was getting ready for the show. I wound up on a phone call with a certain someone for about a half an hour. So I haven't had a chance to eat. They actually, I'll mention this about food. Two things. They redid the dining hall where I work because we have our campus. We have dorms, and they redid it. So we have like some nice little bar tables, little round tables like you'd see in a bar. We have some new flooring, wooden flooring, new kitchen equipment in the back kitchen, which we can't really see, some waffle irons, things like that. So we got some brand new equipment. I think we're going to have a little bit of a better service. And also, I actually have a brand new oven as of today. I had a lot of smoke coming out of the oven, really. And yeah, so I was talking about it with the apartment. I was trying to clean it up. I had some trouble getting it all out. I mean, it would just be, I would open up the oven. I would just be making a frozen pizza, open the oven for about 15, 20 seconds and the alarms would go off and I'd have to go get the broom and wave it at the smoke alarm, But now I should not have to worry about that anymore. They just said, let's just replace the oven. And I said, okay. So they replaced it. And now I've got basically the same oven, but it's a new one. But as far as dinner tonight, I've got some leftover baked sweet potato, and I've got some Costco rotisserie chicken. I think it's going to be leftovers tonight. Yeah. I've still got a little bit of chicken breast, one chicken breast left on the Costco chicken, and I've got the carcass. So I'll probably take some of that down. And work's been pretty good. Classes started for the students a week ago today. So we've been dealing with a lot of craziness, people with a lot of questions about getting enrolled in classes and why they have a balance and why is this not right? Why is the balance different? So a lot of it is talking people off the ledge and let them know that here's your next steps. It's, it's calming them down. Kind of like what you guys need to do to me after a bad Jets game. You got to calm me down. Tell me it's not the end of the world. So Grandites are bringing the friggin' questions tonight, man. Now that the 53-man roster is set, what are their biggest strengths and weaknesses? How are you feeling about the group of guys? I think it's a very young, hungry team, for sure. I'm most excited about the coaching staff teaching a young roster how to do business. That's what I'm most excited about. If I had to give you the biggest strengths, I would say, position-wise, I would say interior offensive lineman. I would say cornerback. Those are probably the two biggest strengths. Weaknesses, I'd have to go quarterback until proven otherwise. Right now, the Jets are in the bottom, I would say bottom 5, bottom 10 in the league when it comes to quarterback. Running back depth, also a strength. Those would be the three strengths. Wide receiver, I would like to see a credible wide receiver 2 opposite Garrett Wilson. Maybe Arian Smith can become that over the course of the season, but right now we don't know. I would have said tackle depth, but now that they've acquired Esapol, I feel a little bit better about it. I do feel better there. And they've reinforced defensive tackle depth. I think stopping the run, they're going to be much better at stopping the run than they would have been otherwise. I think biggest weaknesses, we have to see them play disciplined football. The other weakness is it's really quarterback, the uncertainty of that, discipline. Playing disciplined football, not beating yourself with penalties. And I'm actually getting into that. You know what? It's already 6:55. I was going to do the whole what I need from the offense defense special. I think I'm actually going to wait on that. I'm going to wait on that till next week. The way the things are going. Yeah, I think next week we might do a little bit of a longer show. Yeah, I'm going to talk about what I need, and I think next week, guys, we're also going to do the prediction show. I'm going to break down every team's what I think their standing is going to be, what their record's going to be. I'm going to break down awards, who I think is going to win the awards. I'll even give you my bold predictions. You guys know I do, for anybody who's maybe newer to the channel, before every Jets game, one of the videos I always do, I do my bold predictions for the Jets game for that week and see how that goes. I also make game picks every week. I preview the game in depth. The Jets against whoever I break down offense versus defense and vice versa. Random game notes. I do all of that. So yeah, game week, I really ramp up the content. And then I also do the either Sunday or the Monday, the 3 key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game, which is one of my favorite videos to do because that's me pretty much right after the game, so you never know what you're going to get. If I have a voice left, I do it. So so I always do the bold predictions for the game. I think, but in this case, I'm going to do predictions for the Jets season as well. So I'm going to do that next week. And I think, what I need from the offense, defense, special teams, now that they've kind of finalized the roster, I feel like I got to change that. I got to sort of fine tune it a little bit with what my expectations are, what my hopes are. So I think that's what we're going to do. Come on. Yeah, this thing wants to freeze. There we go. I hope there's no rent increase. Rent's always going up, isn't it? Last time it went up by about $30 a month. And it's just the way it is. And I think the next time I'm up for a change would be next fall. Next fall, I think, is the next time. So yeah, I'm a little over a year away from my lease being up. But yeah, I like where I live. It's a relatively new complex. It's not overly bougie, but it works just fine for me. It's in the middle of everything. It's close to school, so I'm only 5 minutes away from where I work. So I'm off the highway. Good with it. A lot of construction going on. A lot of construction. Where's the hope meter? It depends who you talk to. I'd say it's medium low. It's you know what it is? It's a steady simmer. To use the oven analogy, it's a steady simmer. I think we have hope that if things go right, that the Jets can win maybe 7-8 games. I think that's realistic. I don't think the Jets have the hardest schedule in the world, playing the NFC South, for instance. But if things go wrong, certain players get hurt, it could be a very long season. But again, let's see what this coach can do. Low unless Fields improves. Yeah, I can't argue. Tony, I'm going to keep coming back to this. We are going to see very inconsistent play from this. We can remove this. We're good. I think we're going to see Justin Fields be one of the most polarizing New York Jets we have ever seen. One drive, he'll take us down the field in 4 minutes, 80 yards in 4 minutes, touchdown. We'll be overwhelmed. People will be banging on fanatics to get to buy the Fields jersey. Next drive, 3 and out, we probably get minus yardage. That's what I expect. I expect the Jets to score around 17 to 20 points a game on average. That'll be enough to win some games, but it won't be enough to win every game. So that's where the defense has to do their job. That's where special teams has to make some big plays. You're really counting on them to come through because the offense has a ceiling on it. And I know the Jets are capable of running the ball. I know. But if you're falling behind in the game and you got to throw the ball to get back into the game, can Justin Fields do that for you? Aaron Rodgers couldn't last year in those situations. Let's be honest. He didn't. So, but now you have the mobility threat with Justin Fields. So, yeah, I mean, realistically, I'm going to give you my full predictions next week, but I have an idea on my win total for the Jets right now, and I think it's pretty realistic. I just don't want the season to be over by Columbus Day. Is that asking too much? Me thinks not. Spin the wheel. Well, how are we doing on likes over here? Remember, 15 likes. Guys, we're up to 11 likes. All right, but we need 4 more likes. We'll spin the wheel. So if you haven't hit that thumbs up, got to hit that thumbs up. I love doing the wheel, but I got my standards, and I can't budge off of it. I bring you information from the dark side of the planet. Yeah, spin the wheel or climb the mountain like Price is Right. Mountain climber in the as he falls off the $25 difference game. Of course, we all know the yodel game, the mountain climber. Of course. I thought that was a hard game. You had to pick the prize, get the price right, and if you're more than 25 total dollars off over the 3 prizes, he fell off the mountain. Falls off the cliff. Oh man, it was a kind of a violent game, but yeah, Plinko always my favorite. How could Plinko not? It's Plinko, and then there's everything else on Price is Right. Would you call this the first year of the Aaron Glenn regime, year one of the rebuild, retool, and AG's vision, or is it let's throw something there to see if it's? I go the former. I think Muji and Glenn knew they weren't going to completely fix this roster in 1 year. There's absolutely some legitimate talent on the team, but the depth has to be built up. The depth has to be coached. The guys who are great on this roster, Sauce, Garrett, Quinnen, Quincy, guys like that, they're great by natural talent. But who did the coaching staff truly develop over the years? There aren't many players. Jamie Sherwood, maybe, but to me, he just got an opportunity and he was ready, you know? Look at the tight ends. You know, what tight end developed under, God bless him, we love him, but under if it moves, hit it. You know? We love Ron, but, you know, didn't work. So what players really improved under the coaching staff? To me, that wasn't on the scouting. You know, I hate to keep coming back to it, but I'm going to keep coming back to it as long as I keep seeing people kill the front office and not kill the coaches. And I should be over it. You know, that era is over. It's done. Time to, hey, I'm ready to move on from it, but some people are not. But one thing I can say, the Jets need more depth, and they do need to do better at drafting in the middle rounds. They had some hits in the middle rounds. Don't let anybody fool you. Guys like Sherwood, guys like Michael Carter II, guys like that have worked out. But there were too many that just absolutely flopped. And I'm not asking for 6th, 7th rounders to become Pro Bowl players, but you are looking for good backups, good quality backups. Like, even if I go back to the Idzik 12, like a Dakota Dozier, that kind of a guy who could fill in. Maybe not your long-term starter, but could fill in a moment. Jets have too many positions right now where it's filled with free agents and it's filled with question marks. Yeah, Ron Middleton. Yeah. Coach Middleton, good person, but didn't do his primary job. Yeah, I know. It's true. Does he even have a job right now, Ron Middleton? I got to look this up. Yeah, as far as I know, yeah. According to Wikipedia, he didn't have anything. He didn't have a job right now. So it's a bummer. And I think he'd be best off in a college environment. I think Ron Middleton. I almost said Washington. Ron Washington's the baseball coach. Ron Middleton, I think, is most suited for the college game, in just my opinion. Hey, Scott Foster, how you doing? Sherwood was developed? Yeah, that's about the one. The thing is, though, he was playing special teams for so long. He didn't really get many defensive snaps until Mosley went down. So it's not like he was learning defense on the field as he went. He just stepped in. He was ready to go. But it's very, very, very few players. I mean, has Brees gotten remarkably better? You know? It's tough to say. Things like that. So, I mean, guys like Bryce Huff, guys like that, they did, you know. Again, undrafted free agent Jim. So, there's a few, but to me, if somebody were to ask me what was the reason why that era didn't work out, the J.D. Saleh era, I'd put it on the coaching staff. That's the first place I put it on. I can't even kill them on Zach Wilson because, again, what was the next option? Not that Trevor Lawrence is exactly turned into John Elway. Who are the quarterbacks after that? Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. Jet fans, would you felt better with any one of those quarterbacks? Because let's be honest, no matter who they would have brought in, they didn't exactly have the coaching staff to develop one of them. Justin Fields, I think, would have turned out the exact same way with the Jets as he did with the Bears. Turned loose after 4 seasons. That's how I feel. And then maybe the Jets would have Zach Wilson now, a couple years later. So it was just crappy timing. It's crappy timing. Because what was the option? You weren't going to pay Sam Darnold, not the way that he performed. He hadn't earned that contract. Sam Darnold had to go to San Francisco. He had to go. I've said this before. He had to go to quarterback rehab to get his career right again. If he hadn't spent that time in San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan, he would not have been the quarterback that he became in Minnesota. And he wouldn't have gotten that enormous contract that he just got in Seattle. So I fully believe that. These things happen. Then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and little did we know we knew it was the beginning of the end of the season. Little did we know it was the beginning of the end of the entire regime. Just sucks. But now we move on. We move forward. New era, clean break. Aside from Alan Lazard. Can't get rid of him. They're not committed to winning 100%, but still fans can call out the BS. It's about developing players to me. It's not about getting a number of wins. It's not like Jets make the playoffs or the season's a failure. No, I need to see players improve over the course of the year. Not just rookies, but second-year players and third-year players. That's what I want. That's what I need to see. I need to know that the foundation is in place where next year the Jets are a legitimate playoff contender in the AFC. That they can get one of the 7 spots out of 16. It's funny to think almost half the teams in the NFL make the playoffs nowadays. Almost half. This time next year, we should be having legitimate playoff hopes. Maybe even with a quarterback who's under development that's pushing Justin Fields for the starting job. You never know. It won't take 3 years, Harlan says. You might be able to make the playoffs in year one. If everything goes right, which never happens, and they could just pull some wins out of their rear end, then they could. Almost anybody can make the playoffs. If you ask me who in the AFC cannot make the playoffs right now, I'd probably give you Tennessee. I think I would give you Indianapolis. I just have no confidence in that team, really. I just really don't. Outside of the running game, I just don't believe in them very much, and I just don't think they have enough. You can make an argument for any team in the AFC West, I think. AFC North, outside of Cleveland, any of those 3 teams. Then in the East, I think Miami's going to be disappointing. I don't think New England's going to make it. But I think if you really look at it, I think Houston wins the AFC South. I really have no doubts about that at all. I'd say there's about 10 or 11 legitimate playoff teams that could make a run. There's several that I would say, I just can't. It's hard for me to see it. The Jets, I would say, are at the top of it's hard for me to see it right now. Who are they definitively better than in the AFC? I'd say they're definitely better than Tennessee. Cleveland, I would say that, even though Cleveland does have some talent in some spots. Like I like their offensive line. They do have Myles Garrett. Outside of those 2 teams, who can I say for sure? Can I say they're definitively better than Indianapolis and Jacksonville? Maybe. I mean, we don't know what Liam Cohen's going to be as a head coach in Duval. That's still the most embarrassing press conference I've seen in a while. But 2 teams for absolute sure I could say the Jets are better than. I can make an argument for maybe another 4 to 5. So to me, if you're going to beat out some of these teams, you better be Pittsburgh. That's number 1. You have got to be Pittsburgh week 1 because they're not winning the AFC North, I promise you. Baltimore and Cincinnati, to me, are the 2 best teams by far in that division. Don't love the defense, but I love that Cincy offense. That Pittsburgh game is going to be huge. Huge. I don't really believe in Miami. I think New England is still a year away, too. I think the Jets in New England are going to be having that race towards the top. I think Miami's fallen off. The Chargers, the Chiefs still are what they are. Denver's going to be right in the mix. The Raiders, add Geno Smith, add Pete Carroll. That's good for them. Somebody's got to lose some games in the AFC West. And I'm a little worried about the Chargers, especially losing Rashawn Slater at left tackle. The Chargers, to me, the Chargers are one of those swing teams. I really don't know what to make of the Chargers. That's a tough one for me. If I have one team in the AFC, I am really struggling to figure out that's who it is. Crowley is around. Yep. Talked about that. Yep. Let's go through each team. Buffalo, are the Jets better than Buffalo? No. I'm going to go like, are they better than, worse than, or about the same level? If I had to do this, so I'm doing this completely off the cuff. And then we're going to do trivia. Then I think I'm probably going to. The Mets are starting in about a minute, but we'll see. All right, so Buffalo, worse. New England, I would go same level. Miami's a tough one. I would have said that in 1972. Just kidding. But they are. Tyreek Hill was nowhere near the same player last year. The Dolphins secondary, they're bringing in new players and shipping them out every week. The Dolphins can rush the passer if their guys are healthy, with Chubb and with Phillips. If they're healthy, Zach Seiler. If they're healthy, they can rush the passer. I'll give them that. Their running game is interesting. A-Chain, Jalen Wright, but I don't know if I like their offensive line all that much. And I'm sorry, Jalen Waddle to me has not been as good as I think a lot of people are making him out to be. I can tell you that as his former fantasy owner. I think I put Miami about on the same level. Baltimore, below. Cincinnati, I think the offense is just a little bit too good. I would put us below Cincy right now. I think Cincinnati can make a bit of a run. Pittsburgh, right now, I'm going same level, although I feel like I'm being a little bit generous. But Houston's definitely got some questions there. Pittsburgh's definitely got some questions. Cleveland were better. All right. Houston, I like Houston. I think CJ Stroud has a comeback year. They've added some good weapons. I think Houston's going to have a top 5 defense in football, and I like D'Amico Ryans as a head coach. Indy, I'll say the Jets are better. Jacksonville, I'll say the Jets are better. In Tennessee, I'll say the Jets are better. In the West, Kansas City, we're worse. Denver, we played them very competitively, but they do have Sean Payton. Denver didn't really change their roster all that much, did they? Yeah, very little. Aside from adding Evan Engram as tight end, didn't really change much. But they really came together well, and they can really rush the passer too. I got to put Denver made the playoffs last year. I got to put us below Denver right now. That could change though. Denver below, but it's hesitant. Raiders, I'll put us yeah, and then you have the Chargers, and then you have the Raiders. And I feel like it's kind of hard for me to make an argument either way on that. Raiders, I'll go. We're about the same level. You know, you look at the quarterback and head coach. I mean, they're a little more proven. And the Chargers, I got to put us. Yeah, Charger guys. What do you think about the Chargers? Are we better than them, worse than them, or same level? Again, with Rashawn Slater out, they added Najee Harris at running back. Hasn't exactly been great. I mean, their best receiver is Ladd McConkey, who's very good, but you know he's worked his way up. The defense, I don't think of much when I think of the Chargers' defense. I got to pull up the Chargers depth chart real quick here. I got to see this. I'm pretty sure Khalil Mack and Bosa are still there, right? Yeah, I feel like they're just like an under the radar team. Yeah, Mack is there. Bosa left. He went to Buffalo. Deshaun Hand, Taylor Tart, Ogbania. They have the hardest names to pronounce. Diane Henley, Denzel Perriman, Dante Jackson, Derwin James, Cam Hart, Aloe Gilman, RJ Mickens is there, Bud Dupree is there. The defense doesn't exactly do much for me here. I gotta say. We could be better than the Chargers, but again, we have to prove it. So for let me find me again. There we go. Yeah, he's in Buffalo. Yeah, I'm going to go same level for the Chargers. I could do that. So if we total this up, I've got us worse than 6 teams. Same level out of 15. Same level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that leaves us with being better than 4. So, yeah, we're basically right, I think, in that lower middle rank. So, to me, it's one of those situations where things have to go our way. We're going to have to pull out tight wins. We're going to have to stay healthy. We cannot beat ourselves more than anything. We have to play disciplined football, or we're heading to another 5-win season. That's it. That's as simple as I could say. If I had to simplify for you, that's how I put it. I think Fins in recent time may have beat the Chargers. Yeah, it's true. And I like Jim Harbaugh, but I don't know how much I really love that roster right now. Again, you take Slater and Mekhi Becton's there. Don't forget that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But so now Joe Alt. So now Joe Alt steps in to play left tackle for Rashawn Slater. So he's going to be right in there. Keenan Allen's about 50 years old. Will Dillsley's their tight ends are Will Dillsley, Tyler Conklin, and Aronde Gadsden. I'm sorry. Am I really worried about? No, I'm not all that worried about the Chargers. Not right now. I'm not. I have to go through my standings again, see what I'm going to do. I have to disagree with the Charger opinion. Yeah. I've got us on the same level with the Chargers right now. Probably the best thing they have is their quarterback and their coach, but the rest of the roster, I'm not exactly in love with it. Just not. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what. That is what I'm feeling right now. So next week, I'll give you the. I'm gonna have to update the title on this. Scott Foster, Keenan Allen in his prime would be our easy number 2 receiver. I don't know if he's still that. So I'm gonna have to go back and edit the title. I don't know if I can do this now, but I'll see if I can. Yeah. All right. So I'll have to go back and update that in a little bit. Uh-oh. X that out. Okay, there we go. All right, guys. So I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and do the trivia right now. So I've got a New York Jets trivia question for you. This is sort of a random one. After this week, it's going to be Jets versus opponent trivia. So I've got every trivia question lined up for the whole regular season. All right. So I'm really excited to get to that. But guys, that's next week. Let's talk about this week. You know the deal. Every week, I head down into the labyrinth of Jets knowledge. I bust open the books. I dust off the Encyclopedia Britannica. I pull up the dark Jets web, and I, Watch2K99, challenge you, the most loyal fans of the most loyal fan base in all of the NFL. Just how much do you know about your New York Jets? So if you are ready, let's play Jets trivia. There we go. Yeah, StreamYard ain't gonna ding me for that. So we can prep for the trivia. Okay, there we go. All right. So guys, let's go ahead and add the question. And as you all know, if you've been here before, I will set my phone for 5 minutes. I will give you 5 minutes to answer the question, and put your answers down there in the chat. And I will let you know once you get the answer correct, or if it's an incorrect answer, and we will go from there. All right. So today, as we are doing the show, it is August 27th, the year of our Lord, 2025. So I'm going to give you a trivia question about the number 27. Your question goes like this. Name the last Jet to wear number 27 for 4 seasons or more. 5 minutes. The last Jet to wear number 27 for 4 seasons or more. So I'm only looking for one name tonight, guys. Only one. Can you do it? Just tracking here. Mets get out of the bottom of the first. Get out of the top of the first. They're at bat. Herbert will win a championship. Fields will not. Herbert's going to need a lot more around him to do it. I mean, they got to. Somebody's going to unseat the Chiefs one of these days in that division. I don't know if it's going to be the Chargers, right? I don't know. But how about the coaches in that division? Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh, and Andy Reid. Has there ever been a division with that was that top heavy with coach, that good with coaches 1 through 4? I don't think it could get better than that. I know you don't mean this year, dude. I know. I know, Scott. I know you didn't mean this year. I understood. I'm good. Okay, Alonso ground out. All right, so McLean gets out of it 1, 2, 3, and Taiwan Walker gets out 1, 2, 3. So they go the second inning and no score. Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. So how are we feeling? What do we have? Name the last Jet to wear number 27 for 4 seasons or more. What have we got? I'm going to check the news real quick, see if there's any news going on. Travis Hunter is healthy. Will play in the season opener. Chargers put Jalen Reagor and Tony Jefferson on their practice squad. Anything else? Not really. The Bengals are signing Dalton Risner to the offensive line. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, guys, name the last Jet to wear number 27 for 4 seasons or more. I have not seen any guesses yet. We got a lot of people in the chat. Guys, awesome that you're hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. What do you think? Can you think of any Jet who wore number 27? I can tell you this. It is not D. Milliner who wore number 27. He wore it all right, but he was not here for 4 years. Yes, Malachi Moore is number 27, and he will play for the Jets for at least 4 seasons prediction. I think that is a very, very good prediction. But that's in the future. I'm here, unlike Mark McGuire, I'm here to talk about the past. Got a minute, 30 seconds, guys. Who wore number 27 for at least 4 years? You don't have to go back that many years. Not that many. I can tell you this. It was inside the last 10 years that he was a Jet. So number 27, that's going to narrow down the position a little bit. It could be a running back, could be a defensive back. This isn't the most well-known Jet, I will say that, but he was here for 4 years. Not the most well-known guy. You know, if I'm only asking for one name, you know it's not the most famous guy. You know, it's very rare that I'll give you a trivia question and the answer will only be Sauce Gardner. Oh my God. Tomorrow, I'm so excited. First We Feast, Hot Ones, Sauce Gardner on, going through the Wings of Death Gauntlet with Sean Evans. I can't freaking wait for that. That's going to drop around 10, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Oh my gosh. I will be watching that as soon as that drops. Sauce taking down the Hot Wings. That is going to be awesome. So you'll definitely want to check that out if you like the Hot Ones show. Like, yeah, I love Hot Ones. Love that one. 15 seconds, guys. We don't have any guesses on this one. Oh man, I may have made a question that was too hard for even a guess. 10. All right. I guess we're going to call this one. All right. I guess this one may have been a little bit too difficult. The correct answer, named the last Jet to wear number 27 for 4 seasons or more, it was Darryl Roberts, the defensive back. He was here from 2016 to 2019. That's right. He was here for 4 years, and he wore number 27. Hey, NCV, man, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you hanging out with us here in the chat tonight. So that's the correct answer. Darryl Roberts was the last one to wear number 27 for 4 years, and like Grandizer alluded to, hopefully Malachi Moore will wear it for a good deal longer. So as far as I go, I will be heading to Virginia this weekend, back to my old stomping grounds in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, running a 10-mile race on Sunday morning. First time I've ever tried to do 10 miles. So starts 7 a.m. I'll probably put a link if you like to live track it, get text updates. I'll put a link, I'll put a post up on YouTube if you want to follow along. But I'll be starting at 7 a.m. My goal is to finish in 90 minutes, so to keep a 9-minute mile. So hopefully I'll be done by 8:30, and hopefully by 8:45 I will be completely drunk. Then again, it's Michelob Ultra, which is basically a soda. Let's be honest. Scott, you're gonna see Johnny. Hey, I've texted Johnny. We're working some stuff out. But I definitely intend to see Johnny for sure. I definitely hope so. Thanks, Grandizer. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've done 6.25. I've done a 10K a couple of times, but I've never done 10 miles. So, yeah, be right there on the Virginia Beach ocean front. And, just got one light run left tomorrow. Just do a couple of miles at an easy pace. I'm just going to do it on an incline and think I'm about as ready as I can be. So we'll see how it goes. Will you wear any Jets gear when you run? Will you represent your best team? I will probably wear a Jets wristband. It depends. I've got some Mets. I've got some Jets. Usually, I wind up wearing. I wind up wearing green. But I have I wear most often a race shirt because these race shirts that they give us. I don't mean race. I mean running race. Those are usually very soft, very synthetic shirts, and they're great to run in. So I usually just wear one of the old ones. But I'll bring a drawstring bag with me, and it'll probably be the Jets bag most likely. I always do it for the Yingling race on St. Patrick's Day weekend because of the green. So I've always got a Jets hat on, and I've got my Jets bag on my back after that race. This race, it's more blue themed, more summer themed. So I might go more Mets gear. It just depends. But I haven't figured that out for sure yet. But I'll probably wear Mets and Jets wristbands. I will probably like one wrist will be green, one wrist will be blue, something like that. So that's pretty much the deal. How's the weather supposed to be? Last I checked, it's supposed to be really good. The last I saw, there is going to be a little bit of weather on Saturday night, like a light rain. But I'm most focused on Sunday night, on Sunday morning. And from what I'm seeing, breezy in the morning. On AccuWeather. I hate weather.com because there's always all these ads that you got to click around. Sunday, it's a 4% chance of precipitation, a high of 78. So it's looking like fantastic running weather. So if the high is 78, you pretty much figure during the run it'll be in the 60s, and that's pretty much exactly where you would want it. So my big thing is how windy is it going to be? Because running on the ocean front, you never know. You never know when you're going to be running into the wind, when you'll have the wind at your back, when it'll be a side wind. That's the one thing that you don't really know. So, so that's pretty much it. But yeah, I feel good. I've been training for 11 and a half weeks. So I'm looking forward to not have to get up at 5 a.m. on some of these mornings to do my running. So after this, I'll be taking a little bit of a break and I'll do some more lifting. Hopefully you meet some really hot gal who's also a runner, has some cute looking running gear. Hey now, what Grandizer? You David Sims? No, there is, I will say this, there is somebody I'm talking to who I like a lot. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but we've been out once. I actually did talk to her before the show and had another really good conversation. She just, she is a very busy person, as am I. And if it takes, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's a situation where I do have to take my time. I want to do this right. I really want to do this right. And hopefully eventually gets to the point where it goes that way. But if it doesn't, that's okay. Here's the thing. And I'm not here to be like Dr. Phil or anything like that, but I am not going to base happiness on whether I'm in a relationship or not. No girl deserves that burden. It is not her job to make me happy. It is not my job to make her happy. But I will say this. She is from New York State originally. Okay. And she lived in Chicago for a little while working. Now she lives in North Carolina. She's about my age, never married, no kids. I'm sure you'll ask if she's hot. And in that sense, yes, I do find her attractive. Great heart, very intelligent, very engaging. It would be good. It'd be good. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm positive she's not watching. She has other stuff to do. She knows about the channel, but I can guarantee you she's 99% sure she's not here right now. So, and if she is, well, hey, what can I say? Then I give myself away. But whatever, it's fine. Is she a Dolphins fan? I don't even know. We haven't really talked about that, and I haven't wanted to talk much about sports. It's just when it comes out, it comes out. I know she grew up going to Mets games. Now, growing up in Albany, that's pretty good. But I don't really know if she's a big sports fan. And to be honest, I don't mind that at all. Better she not be a sports fan than be a fan of the wrong teams. Like, I know this. Her favorite city is Boston. If she turned out to be a Patriots fan, I'd be crying. I can't deal with a Patriots fan. I can't. Just can't. But trying to communicate, a little bit every day, even if it's just a hi, how you doing? Hope you have a great day. We don't need to talk every day because I want to be respectful of her time, all of that. I don't want to be needy, nothing like that. So, but there's things that I'm watching for, like, is she going to, does she initiate communication? She has once or twice, and that's important. And if she tells that I'm a Jets fan, next response, will you marry me? I mean, that's the only appropriate response, right? Help each other out through the suffering. Yeah. I see nothing to argue with there at all. Yeah, she has traveled. Yeah, she's done some traveling for sure. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we could talk about. A lot of people don't know, whether it's certain types of music, whether, stuff like that, travel experiences and faith matters, stuff like that. Yeah. So there's certain things that we definitely do have in common, and that helps a lot. Patriots haven't played in Boston for quite a while. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's it's okay. It's okay. It's one of those things. I'm good with my life. Been changing a few things as of late to try to do some things better, getting the volunteering and serving a little bit more. Just realized I wanted to change some things. That was one of them. And that kind of led to this. I'll put it that way. I don't want to get into too much detail, but realized I wanted to contribute more than I was to other people. It was time to do that and not spend so much time working. So, and I appreciate that, man. I try to be one of the good fellows. I definitely have my moments of regret, no doubt. And some of them have been public. Sorry to say, but it's just part of being human. And hey, who amongst us wants to be judged by our worst moments, right? None of us do. None of us do. I missed out on Taylor Swift. I know, it's heartbreaking. I think I muted on Twitter. I muted Swift, Swifty, Travis, Kelsey, and Love Story. I muted all of it out. And you know what? Fine. Whatever. It doesn't affect me. It's just like, okay, fine. It's not my problem. Said she worked in Chicago. So did you. Yeah, we were in Chicago at the same time. And we both left Chicago right around the same time. We both left in 2017. She came down here. Her parents are in the area, and I went to Virginia. And then I came down here just over a year ago. So, yeah, I told her, I said, there's no doubt we cross paths at certain events or certain places. There's no doubt. We just didn't know it at the time. I have no doubt in my mind. The other thing I will mention, it's funny. I knew of her for a year because she was teaching a class that I was attending. But it was so big, I never really talked to her, and she was telling some of her story, and I realized I can relate to her. And it was about 3 weeks ago when I actually introduced myself. It was the weekend. It was actually the weekend before the weekend after, I think the weekend before my trip to the Midwest, before I went to Green Bay and Chicago. And yeah, it was the weekend before that Sunday. And then we started talking, started communicating, and so far it's okay. I've mentioned a couple of ideas, things we could do together, but she's got to check her schedule. So I'll be patient, wait, but at least she knows I'm coming up with ideas and I'm interested. I'm proposing specific ideas. So I don't just want to say, hey, you want to go out? No, I said, how on this date this is happening. How about we do this? I'm trying to do it right. I've done a lot wrong for a long time with this stuff. A lot wrong. So really trying to do it right, because I want this one to work. Adam has game snagging the teacher. Yeah, no comment. No, I like her very much. I really like her. Again, don't know if it's going to be a relationship, but if it is, we'll both know. One person can't want it, both have to want it. So, all right, guys, this has been fun, but I think it's time to call it a night because I'm hungry. Just like Chris Rock, go in the kitchen and get me my big piece of chicken. All right, everybody, I'll tell you what, you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. And guess what? This is the last show where there is not a game the upcoming week. That's a good feeling, isn't it? We're a week and a half away from the season starting. So next week, again, I'll talk about what I need to see from each of these teams, each of these units on the Jets, and we'll do the prediction show as well. If there's any other news going on, we will get into that too. So, guys, everybody, thank you again for hanging out with me tonight. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all right back here next week with more content from you all know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a good night, everybody. You guys rock.